Revealed, the amazing transformation of an infertile alpha and his touching journey to fatherhood. Jack had always been the alpha among his friends, the one who could tighten any bolt and fix any engine. But beneath his grease-stained exterior, there was a heavy heart. At 35, he wasn't just battling the clunkers in the garage. He was fighting something far more daunting: infertility. Each day, as he strolled through the bustling streets of his Midwestern town, the sight of happy families tugged at his insides. He'd watch parents beam as they enjoyed the simple joys of life, cradling their newborns and cheering at soccer games. It was beautiful, yet it pierced through him like a rusty nail. "Mom is always asking when we're having kids," he'd mutter with a forced smile to Lisa, his devoted partner. Inside, the weight of shame crushed him. The silence of their unfulfilled dreams echoed in their home. Lisa was trooper, but he could see the flicker of disappointment land in her eyes every time the clock ticked closer to another family gathering. As if to further press the burden on their shoulders, his childhood friend, a new dad with an overabundance of parenting stories, burst into his life one day.
"So, Jack,
What's holding you back, man? Just man up and get it done." His friend laughed, oblivious to the storm brewing inside Jack. That comment felt like a punch. He stood there, feeling smaller than ever. Was he not man enough? Was he less worthy? Despite the bravado he exuded daily, success in the garage couldn't patch the gaping hole where his aspirations of fatherhood lay wide, and the shadowy corners of his garage. Lost in thought, Jack often found solace in tinkering with broken machines. But each broken piece symbolized something deeper. Tension heightened each time Lisa suggested they explore options: adoption, maybe? What if it isn't what we imagined? He would whisper, fear gnawing at him. This wasn't just about them. It felt like it involved judgment from the world outside. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. One dewy evening under the soft glow of porch lights, the couple held hands in silence, drinking in the weight of their dreams and fears. Jack's heart raced when they stumbled upon an unexpected opportunity: a child that could fill their home with laughter and joy. It was a glimmer of hope, yet Jack grappled with societal judgment that loomed over him like a dark cloud. Could he still be the father he wanted to be, even after the struggles he faced? As the quiet rush of night wrapped around them, a whirlwind of emotions danced in Jack's chest. In that moment, Jack realized that fatherhood wasn't defined by biology, but by love and commitment. As the stars sparkled above, Jack's mind raced ahead, leading him toward the next chapter of his life. Could this truly be the beginning of a family? As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Jack sat on the edge of the bed, his thoughts swirling like leaves caught in the autumn breeze. Today was the day. Lisa had been awake for hours, her excitement palpable as she flitted around the house, humming to herself. They had a meeting with an adoption agency, a crucial step towards the family they had both yearned for so long. Jack's heart thumped, a mixture of hope and anxiety coursing through him. Was he ready for this leap? Living with the fear of not being enough had gripped him tightly. He stared into the bathroom mirror, taking deep breaths to steady himself. Determined to face his fears, he imagined the joy that a child could bring into their lives. A burst of laughter, sticky hands pulling at his pant leg, and sweet bedtime stories.
Jack,
"Are you coming?" Lisa's voice broke through his thoughts, pulling him back to the present. "Yeah, I'm ready," he replied, forcing a smile as he joined her in the kitchen. The aroma of coffee filled the air, heightening his senses. Lisa stood by the window, radiating a warmth that made his heart flutter. She turned and gave him a wide smile, the kind that ignited a flicker of hope within him. The drive to the agency was a blur. Jack's mind raced with questions. What if they met a child that he couldn't bond with? What if others judged him as not fit to be a father? As they arrived, he felt the familiar weight settle back on his shoulders. Still, every step forward carried a hint of release from their years of longing. They walked through the glass doors, the modern decor doing little to ease his nerves. A receptionist greeted them with a bright smile, her warmth bordering on infectious. "Welcome. You must be Jack and Lisa. We're thrilled to have you here." The couple took a seat in the waiting area, their fingers entwined, each squeeze shared between them a wordless promise of support. Minutes felt like hours before a kind woman with a clipboard approached them. "Hi, I'm Sarah. Let us have a chat about your hopes and dreams for adopting." As they navigated through the conversation, Jack found himself speaking freely about the kind of life he envisioned. He spoke of backyard barbecues, family game nights, and camping trips under the stars. Lisa's eyes sparkled as she added details, drawing them closer to a future that felt more tangible with every word. But as Sarah laid out the realities, Jack's heart thudded loudly in his chest. The system, the waiting, the uncertainties. Everything seemed overwhelming. Perhaps he wasn't cut out for this role. Tears pooled in Lisa's eyes. She sensed his turmoil. "Jack," she said softly, "you're more than enough. We'll face this together." He watched her, the strength she radiated pulling him from his depths of doubt. In that moment, Jack understood. It wasn't about perfection. It was about the love they would give and receive, about the commitment to each other and to the child that could join their lives. With renewed determination, Jack nodded, ready to embrace the journey ahead. They both looked at Sarah, who radiated encouragement with her soft smile, and they felt a sliver of hope pierce through their earlier fears. As they started to fill out the endless forms, Jack's hands shook slightly, excitement bubbling under the surface. What if this was the moment that altered everything for them? And then an unexpected thought struck him. What if the child they might adopt could also change him in ways he never imagined, shattering everything he thought he knew about fatherhood? With his heart pounding and fire igniting in his veins, Jack felt an epiphany unfolding. He realized that this journey was just the beginning. But with every beginning comes uncharted territory, and he couldn't help but wonder what lay just beyond the next bend. Jack's heart raced more with every form they filled out. The excitement was undeniable, but doubt still lingered like a shadow. He could feel the weight of the decisions they were making pushing down on him. Was it possible to embrace the messy beauty of fatherhood? Lisa glanced over, catching the flicker of worry crossing his face. "Hey," she said softly, squeezing his hand. "Just breathe. We can do this." Her voice was like a soothing balm, easing the anxiety coiling around him.
"Right.
"Just breathe," he whispered back, nodding as he forced a smile. As they continued, Sarah chatted about the various stages of adoption. She spoke about openness, support, and the importance of building a family through love. Each word wrapped around Jack like a warm blanket, making the day feel just a bit brighter. Yet, a nagging question remained. Would they truly be ready for this? "Jack, are you still with us?" Sarah asked after a pause. His distant stare snapped back to reality as both women looked at him. "Yeah, just thinking," he admitted, his voice quiet. "Thinking is good," Lisa chimed in, her eyes filled with understanding. "It means you're processing what everything means to us." "Exactly," Sarah added. "This is a big step, but always remember, it's about building a connection."
It may take time.
Jack's fingers tapped nervously on the table as he stared at the stack of papers. The blank spaces asking for details about their lives loomed large, each line a reminder of the many unknowns ahead. What if they didn't measure up? What if the child they welcomed into their home didn't want them? The swirling thoughts threatened to choke him again. But then he felt Lisa's hand clutch his tightly. In that grip, he found the resolve to silence the inner critic. What they had was more than enough. As they wrapped up their meeting, Sarah recommended a few resources books, support groups, and seminars. "And remember," she added with a smile, "you're not alone in this. We're here for you every step of the way." Once back in the car, a sense of relief washed over Jack. The sunlight felt warmer, and the chatter of passing cars was less oppressive. "Thank you for keeping me grounded in there," he said to Lisa, who looked at him with a knowing smile. Always. That's what partners do. She shifted in her seat, her enthusiasm bubbling back to the surface. Can you believe we finally took that first step? We're on our way to being parents. Her joy was infectious. Jack felt a smile stretching across his face, igniting a spark of hope that had dimmed. Could it be? Could they really be parents? Tears pricked at his eyes, a blend of happiness and disbelief washing over him. I guess we have to start planning that backyard barbecue now, he joked, his heart warming at the thought. Definitely. Lisa laughed, her eyes sparkling. And maybe a game night with plenty of ice cream involved? They both laughed, a sound that felt light and joyous. For the first time, Jack realized that they weren't just dreaming anymore. They were moving, forging ahead, but as they pulled into their driveway, a nagging voice whispered in the back of his mind. What if this journey threw unexpected curveballs their way? What if it tested their love in ways they hadn't prepared for? He shook it off, determined to focus on the hope blossoming inside him. Yet, the question lingered, echoing in the corners of his thoughts. How could they prepare for a future filled with uncertainties? In that moment, Jack felt the thrill of possibility, knowing that each step forward could lead to everything they'd ever wanted and maybe, just maybe, something even more extraordinary. The glow of the setting sun bathed their home in a warm, golden light, casting elongated shadows across the yard. Jack stood by the front porch, his mind swirling. He felt a tug in his chest, a mix of exhilaration and the gnawing uncertainty about the journey ahead. The laughter from the car faded as Lisa hopped out, pulling a small box from under her arm. You have to check this out, she said, her excitement palpable. She opened the box to reveal a tiny pair of booties, soft and white, with little blue stars sprinkled across them. Jack's breath caught in his throat. Oh wow, those are adorable, he managed, his mind racing. Were they really ready for this? I thought we could start collecting little things, you know? Lisa smiled, her eyes sparkling with joy. It makes it feel more real, don't you think? Jack nodded, but a flutter of anxiety stirred in his stomach. Collecting items felt like building a castle in the clouds, beautiful, but inherently fragile. Yeah, definitely, he replied, his voice slightly wavering. Later that evening, they settled onto the living room couch, surrounded by the cozy lighting of their space. The little booties rested on the coffee table, a beacon of hope yet an anchor of reality. Jack glanced at them, then at Lisa, who was now scrolling through a list of parenting vlogs on her tablet. Do you think we're ready for this? He asked, the question slipping out before he could second-guess it. Lisa paused, her gaze drifting to the baby booties. I think we're as ready as we can be. Nobody really knows what they're doing at first. It's about love and figuring it out together. Her words were reassuring, yet Jack's heart raced with thoughts of sleepless nights, diaper changes, and navigating the tumultuous waters of parenthood. Could he balance being strong for Lisa while confronting his own fears? As if sensing his turmoil, Lisa turned to him, her expression softening. You know, Jack, it's okay to be scared. I am too. But we can't let those fears hold us back. Her honesty struck a chord within him. It felt like a weight lifting. You're right. It's just I don't want to mess this up. What if we can't handle it? Lisa reached out, wrapping her fingers around his.
We'll take it one day at a time.
We'll be messy and imperfect, but we'll be learning together. Isn't that what makes it beautiful? He caught her gaze, the sincerity in her eyes anchoring his spiraling thoughts. Beautiful, he repeated softly, recognizing the truth in her words. A moment passed, filled with the gentle quiet of their shared understanding. Jack leaned back into the couch, allowing himself to breathe a little easier. But then, a thought flashed uninvited through his mind. What if it's not just about us? What if this child has their own struggles? Hey, Lisa said, breaking his train of thought. Let us make a list of things we think we need to prepare. It'll help us feel a bit more in control. Jack nodded, grateful for her proactive spirit. They grabbed a notepad and began brainstorming everything from cribs to baby monitors. With each item they listed, a sense of structure began to replace the chaos in his mind. But just before they finished up, a fresh wave of anxiety washed over Jack. What if we're not enough, Lisa? What if they need something we can't provide? Lisa's hand tightened on his, her voice firm yet comforting. We'll show up every day with love in our hearts. That's the most important thing. As they placed the notepad down, an unfamiliar resolve began to settle within Jack. Perhaps they could navigate the winding paths ahead. Yet, even as he embraced this thought, a question loomed larger than life. Would their love endure the challenges that parenthood could throw at them? The uncertainty hung in the air like a heavy mist as they turned off the lights and headed to bed. Jack lay awake, contemplating what awaited them. The next step felt like the beginning of a thrilling adventure, one that could change everything. Would their love prove strong enough, or would they find themselves facing the unforeseen together? Morning light streamed through the window, teasing Jack out of sleep. The gentle rays touched his face, and he squinted against the brightness, stretching as he did. His heart still buzzed with the quiet apprehension from the night before. Today felt different, like a shift in the wind. Lisa was already awake, perched at the kitchen table with her laptop, surrounded by papers and colorful sticky notes. She hummed softly, lost in thought. The scent of coffee wafted through the air, pulling him toward her like a lighthouse beacon through fog. "Hey, sleepyhead," she grinned as he entered. "Want some coffee?" "Definitely," he replied, his voice raspy from sleep. He poured himself a cup, grateful for the warmth that filled his hands. As he sipped his coffee, Jack glanced over the papers scattered in front of Lisa. "You've been busy." "Just organizing everything," Lisa said, her eyes lighting up. "We should have a game plan, right? Like a roadmap for our adventure ahead." He laughed lightly. "I never thought I'd need a roadmap for parenting. Trust me, it's easier to navigate with one." She chuckled, and he couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. Their conversation took a turn toward specifics as they discussed the nursery. "We need to pick a theme," Lisa suggested. "What about animals? Or maybe something nature-inspired?" Jack considered it. "I like animals. There's something comforting about them." "Perfect. I'll start looking for decor." She beamed, her joy infectious. A slight unease bubbled in Jack's chest, though. What if they decorated with all the love in the world, and it wasn't enough? "Hey," Lisa said, catching his eye. "You okay?" "Yeah, just thinking about what's next. The nursery feels like the easy part, you know? But what about the hard stuff?" Lisa leaned closer, concern etched in her expression. "Jack, we can't predict every challenge we're going to face. We'll learn together as we go."
Just like we talked about.
"You're right," he sighed, pushing the anxiety aside. "One step at a time, right?" "Exactly." They spent the next hour mapping out their nursery ideas and chatting about their hopes and dreams. Lisa's excitement wrapped around him like a warm hug, driving away his lingering doubts. But as the afternoon approached, the reality of their situation began to seep into Jack's thoughts again. He remembered the struggle to conceive, the heart-wrenching moments filled with frustration and loss. There were days he barely held himself together, fearing he wouldn't ever hold a baby in his arms. "Jack?" Lisa's voice broke through the fog of his memories. "What's going on?" He hesitated, grappling with his vulnerability. I remember how hard it was for us, the times we thought we might never have this." His finger absent-mindedly traced the rim of his coffee cup. Lisa reached for his hand. "Those moments made us stronger. Our love survived through the darkest times. We're not the same people we were back then." Her reassuring words struck him deeply. Maybe she was right. Their journey had forged an unbreakable bond, one that had prepared them for the unexpected. It was a thought that gave him strength. As they talked, the afternoon light shifted, casting long shadows in the room. Yet Jack felt a glimmer of hope. The shadows held no power over them. Just as they started discussing baby names, Jack's phone buzzed on the counter, a message from their fertility specialist.
His heart raced.
"Oh, I should probably check this." Lisa's smile faded slightly, replaced by an unreadable expression. "What does it say?" He opened the message and felt a mix of excitement and dread. "It's about the next appointment. It looks like they want us to come in sooner than expected." Lisa's eyes widened. Sooner? Is that good?
I don't know yet, he admitted.
But it could mean they have news or maybe a new plan. The intensity of the moment hung in the air, thick with uncertainty. Jack realized that whatever was coming next, their love would be tested again. Do you want me to come with you? Lisa asked, all concern. Yeah, I think I'd like that, he replied, feeling the tremble of his heart. Against the rush of possibilities. With their journey poised on the brink of another chapter, the air crackled with potential. What would the doctor say? Would this be the turning point they had been waiting for, or another hurdle on the road ahead? As they exchanged glances filled with hope and fear, Jack knew they would face whatever came next together. But deep inside, he wondered, was this truly the breakthrough he longed for, or merely another test of their resilience? The drive to the clinic felt heavier than usual. Jack gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white under the weight of his thoughts. The car was filled with a quiet intensity that buzzed in the air between them. Lisa reached over, her hand soft and warm against his. It was a small gesture, but it sparked a surge of gratitude within him. Whatever happens today, we're in this together, she said, her voice steady and reassuring. Yeah, he whispered, though doubts still swirled like storm clouds in his mind. What if the doctor had bad news? What if they faced yet another setback? He parked the car, but the idea of stepping into the clinic threatened to paralyze him. Lisa squeezed his hand a little tighter, and that small connection broke through the fog of anxiety. Let us go, she urged, and he nodded as they got out. Inside the clinic, the sterile smell of antiseptic mixed with the faint scent of flowers from a vase on the reception desk. The waiting area was crowded, filled with hopeful parents and their anxious faces. Jack felt a wave of empathy wash over him. Each person there carried their own story, and he was just one among many. They settled into the most uncomfortable chairs, the ticking clock adding to the pressure in the room. Jack tapped his foot, caught between anticipation and fear. He turned to Lisa, who was flipping through a glossy magazine, but her eyes were distant, lost in thought. What if today doesn't go well? He asked, the question slipping out before he could contain it. Lisa set the magazine down and met his gaze. We can't let that define us, Jack. No matter what happens, we're still going to be a team, and we're still going to make it through. Her words were like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. He needed to hear that. He wanted to believe it. As they sat in silence, a nurse finally called their name. Both of them felt the air shift, the moment looming before them like a thrilling cliff dive. They moved into the consultation room. The doctor entered, smiling warmly, but Jack couldn't decipher the emotion behind it. He felt his heart rate climb. Every beat echoed in his ears, drowning out the quiet rustle of papers on the doctor's desk. Jack, Lisa, the doctor began, thanks for coming in so soon. I have some updates regarding your case. Jack held his breath, squeezing Lisa's hand as a flood of hope and fear collided within him. First, I want to start by saying that we've reviewed the last tests. While it hasn't been easy, there are some promising options we can discuss. Promising? Jack repeated, the word almost foreign on his tongue. The doctor nodded.
Yes.
There's a new treatment protocol that could significantly improve your chances. It's tailored specifically for cases like yours. Jack exchanged a glance with Lisa, her eyes shimmering with unspoken questions. They were both caught between disbelief and cautious optimism. What does it involve? Lisa asked, her voice steady, but filled with curiosity. The doctor explained, offering data and case studies that Jack struggled to absorb amidst his swirling emotions. He heard the words, but they felt distant, like his heart was racing a step ahead of his mind. At the end of the discussion, Jack turned to Lisa, who wore an expression that could both ground him and lift him at the same time. I think this could be it, Jack, she whispered, hope blooming across her features. But what if it's not? Jack said, the shadow of fear creeping back in. Then we'll figure it out, Lisa replied softly, her conviction piercing through the fog. Her resilience ignited something within him. Maybe this was their moment, their chance to redefine their future. As they left the room, a new weight settled in Jack's chest, but this time it wasn't burdening. It was the weight of possibilities. Hope began to take root, intertwining with the fear, creating a complex tapestry of emotions. Jack glanced at Lisa, and something shifted between them. They had withstood storms, yet somehow emerged intact. The sun brightened the sky as they stepped outside, bathing them both in golden light. It felt like a renewal, a second chance hanging in the air, ripe with promise. "Whatever happens next," Jack said, his voice firm, "I want us to face it head-on. Together." "Always," Lisa smiled, her warmth a comforting cloak. As they walked away from the clinic, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was only just beginning. Would this decision lead to the family they had dreamed of, or bring more challenges they hadn't anticipated? Uncertainty loomed ahead, yet for the first time in a long while, so did hope. And he knew, as different feelings intertwined within him, that the next step was crucial. Would they dare to embrace the unknown when it came? As they turned the corner from the clinic, the sunlight flooded their path, draping everything in warmth and a sense of new beginnings. Jack felt Lisa's fingers still entwined with his, a reminder that despite the uncertain road ahead, he was not alone. He breathed in deeply, trying to soak in the promise of possibilities that lingered in the air. "I can't believe we might actually have options," he said, trying to process everything the doctor had laid out for them. "Me too," Lisa replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "This could change everything." "Imagine." Jack interrupted, his heart racing at the thought. What if it does? What if we're finally on the path to becoming parents? The thought ignited a warmth within him, yet a shadow of doubt flickered just below the surface. "But what if it doesn't work?" he muttered, glancing quickly at Lisa. "What if we've just set ourselves up for another disappointment?" Lisa stopped walking for a moment, turning to face him. "Jack, we won't know unless we try. We can't let fear hold us back. Remember what we talked about? Facing it head-on?" He nodded slowly, but felt the weight of all their struggles harden in his chest. I want this so much. I can't bear the thought of failing again." She leaned in closer, searching his eyes. "We're not failing. We're trying. And if it doesn't go as we hope, we'll keep trying. Together." With her unwavering conviction, Jack felt a flicker of courage spark within him. They continued walking, the world around them a vivid blur of colors. Birds chirped, children played in the park, and for the first time in a long while, Jack felt a glimmer of hope taking root in his heart. They reached their car, and Jack paused, glancing at Lisa. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "What if this treatment works? What does that look like for you?" Lisa smiled softly, but there was a depth behind it. "It looks like us tired but happy. It looks like late-night feedings and school recitals. It looks like a family." He thought about that, about the life they could build, one filled with laughter and love. Messy, but beautiful. "What if we end up with twins? Or triplets?" She laughed, light and free. "Then we better buckle up for the ride." Jack joined her laughter, the tension in his chest easing slightly.
"Deal. Just remind me to buy a minivan."
After a moment, Lisa grew serious again, tilting her head slightly. "And if it doesn't go as planned?
How do you feel about that?"
Jack hesitated, grappling with the answer. I guess then we take it day by day, have each other. Focus on what we do have. We can make a family in so many ways."
"Exactly.
"We're not just defined by one path," Lisa said, squeezing his hand. "We are okay as long as we're together." They got in the car, the mood having shifted to one of determination. Jack turned the key in the ignition, the engine rumbling to life, matching the excitement swelling in him. Driving home, every bump in the road felt a little less daunting. Conversation flowed, bouncing from dreams and plans to silly anecdotes from their childhoods. Laughter spilled easily, each chuckle fortifying their bond. As they approached their home, Jack felt the intensity of their conversation simmer to a point. Gazing at the house that had been their sanctuary, he asked, "What do you think will be the biggest challenge ahead?" Lisa pondered for a moment, her brow furrowing. "Knowing when to stand firm and when to let go. It's going to be a balancing act," she trailed off, her expression clouding for just a moment before she took a breath. But whatever it is, we'll face it. Together. Jack nodded, resolving to keep pushing through uncertainty. Together, they would navigate the maze ahead, possibly leading to joy or heartache. But a voice in the back of his mind whispered, what if something unexpected came knocking at their door before they got the chance to figure it all out? As they entered the house, he found himself looking at every corner, wondering if their lives were about to change in ways they hadn't prepared for yet. The excitement buzzed in his chest, but more than that, a jolt of anxiety rushed through him. What awaited them in the near future? As they stepped into the house, the familiar scent of home wrapped around them like a warm blanket. Jack glanced around, his heart full of possibilities, but his mind still buzzing with questions. He could feel the lightness of the moment pushing against the weight of what lay ahead. Want some coffee? Lisa asked, breaking the silence as she loosened her coat and tossed it over the back of the dining chair. Only if it's the good stuff, he replied with a smirk, his mood lifting. Always, she said, giving him a playful wink before heading to the kitchen. Jack wandered into the living room, running his fingers over the worn fabric of the couch. It had been their refuge through dark times. He remembered those long nights spent talking, comforting each other after yet another disappointment. Even those moments had somehow brought them closer. Lisa returned with 2 steaming mugs, and their fingers brushed as she handed one to him. The gentle contact sent a thrill through him, just another reminder that they were in this together. She settled beside him, and for a moment, they simply sat in comfortable silence, the weight of the world clouded by the aroma of rich coffee. Okay, so, if you could have anything for dinner right now, what would it be? Lisa asked, her eyes sparkling. Pasta, he said without hesitation. We should make that together like old times. Remember our kitchen experiments? She laughed, a sound that felt like sunshine breaking through clouds. I do remember, but let us not burn anything this time, okay? Deal. Jack grinned, feeling the tension of the day begin to fade. Yet, the unknown hovered quietly in the back of his mind. As they gathered ingredients, chopping vegetables and stirring sauces, the conversation returned to their hopes and fears. Jack stirred the pot while Lisa mixed a salad. What if we make a huge mistake? What if this isn't the right path? He said suddenly, feeling the familiar knot tighten in his stomach. Lisa stopped, meeting his gaze with determination. Then we'll own it. No matter what happens, we learn, we grow. Remember, we're not alone. Sometimes it feels like we're walking on a tightrope, he admitted, a note of vulnerability creeping into his voice. I don't want to fall, Lisa. I just can't take another disappointment. She stepped closer, setting down the salad bowl. Then let us promise to catch each other. Life is unpredictable, but we can't let that fear paralyze us. Whether we end up with kids or not, it doesn't change what we have. In that moment, her words resonated deeply. It was about more than just children. It was about their love, their journey. The taste of hope began to dissolve the trepidation. Can I tell you something? He asked, hesitating just a beat. Of course. I keep replaying all our past attempts in my mind, all the heartbreak and loss. But I also see us together getting through those moments. He paused, searching her eyes for understanding. It makes me think maybe we were meant to face this, to grow from it, together. Tears glistened in Lisa's eyes, and she stepped forward to wrap her arms around him. Yes, exactly. No matter what happens next, we're stronger for having faced it all. Just as Jack felt a sense of peace wash over him, a loud knock sounded at the door, jolting them both. They pulled apart, surprise overshadowing their earlier moment of calm. Who could that be? Jack wondered, glancing toward the door. The unexpected visitor loomed large in his mind, conjuring a mix of curiosity and apprehension. They exchanged a look, filled with uncertainty. What now? What awaited them just outside? As Lisa moved to answer the door, Jack's heart raced. Sometimes, life had a way of turning everything upside down in the blink of an eye. Would they be ready for whatever was about to enter their lives? When Lisa opened the door, Jack held his breath. The sight that greeted them was unexpected, turning the pulse of the moment into something electric. There stood Martha, their neighbor, her hands clasped tightly around a small, wrapped package. Her face displayed a mix of excitement and concern.
Hey.
Sorry to drop by unannounced. I hope I'm not interrupting, she said, eyes darting between them. Not at all, Lisa said, her voice light, though Jack sensed an undertone of curiosity. Martha was known for her dramatic entrances, often bringing news that was either delightfully surprising or terribly inconvenient. I brought you something, Martha continued, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. She held out the small package, wrapped in bright paper that seemed to sparkle in the afternoon light. It's for you too. Open it. Jack exchanged a glance with Lisa, both of them caught in the web of the unexpected. What could it be? The air filled with a mingling of anticipation and dread. Go on, Martha urged, her eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. Lisa carefully tore away the wrapping, and as she opened the box, her eyes widened. Inside lay a tiny onesie, soft and perfectly folded with the words "baby on board" printed across it. Jack felt his heart skip a beat. Was this a joke? His gaze snapped to Martha, who was grinning like it was Christmas morning. I found it at a yard sale, she said, more excited than ever. I thought it was adorable. I know how badly you two want this. The room plunged into silence, only the rustling of the remnants of the wrapping a backdrop to the moment. Jack felt the weight of his past looming like a cloud above them. That onesie represented everything they had hoped for, everything they had tried to achieve, and the reminder of what had been lost. Wow, that's unexpected, Lisa murmured, her voice unsteady. He watched her face, absorbing the blend of joy and confusion. Words clashed in his mind. A pair of emotions fought within him, hope and fear. What if they could never fill that onesie? What if this was just another reminder of how fleeting joy could be? Hey, Martha said gently, sensing the shift in the air. It's okay to dream, right? Kids are a blessing. You shouldn't let anything hold you back. Jack wanted to reassure her, but the lump in his throat made it impossible. He appreciated the good intentions, but the burden of disappointment was heavy, like an anchor weighing him down. Lisa's fingers grazed the soft fabric, her eyes glistening again. Thank you, Martha. It really is cute. Well, we'll keep it for when the time is right. Of course. Just thought it might brighten your day, Martha replied, oblivious to the uncertainty that had crept back into the room. Martha chatted on. Jack's mind spiraled. They had wanted this so badly, and there it was, a pretender of hope, draped in fabric. He felt torn between wanting to embrace the dream and fearing what would happen if they fell short again. Martha's words faded into white noise as he stood lost in thought. What if this any sign of fate, or simply a cruel taunt from the universe? Finally, Martha bid them goodbye, leaving Jack and Lisa alone once more. The light in the room dimmed a notch as the door clicked shut. Lisa took a deep breath, glancing at the onesie on the table. There was a moment of silent understanding, a shared breath before everything became too real. Jack, do you really think we can do this? She asked, vulnerability cracking through her voice, as sorrow and hope intertwining danced in the space between them. Jack faced his own growing uncertainty. Could they truly face what lay ahead, or would this moment become yet another in a series of what-ifs? The next steps felt larger than life. Would they muster the courage to chase their dreams, or would they falter once more? His heart raced at the thought. The door wasn't just a door anymore, it was a threshold to what might lie ahead. The sun dipped low, casting long silhouettes across the room as Jack picked up the onesie. He felt every ounce of hope and fear swell within him. We need to talk about this, he said, his voice steady, though a storm brewed behind his eyes. Lisa crossed the room, her delicate fingers brushed against the fabric. I know it's just a piece of clothing, but it feels different. Her voice trembled slightly, revealing the weight they both carried. What if this is a sign? Jack whispered, his heart racing at the thought. He looked at her, vulnerability etched across his face. Could this be the moment they had been waiting for? Lisa took a deep breath, her eyes shining as she searched his. What if it is? What if it's a reminder of all the times we wanted to give up, but didn't? This is real, Jack. We've faced so much already, and we can keep going. We just can't let fear hold us back anymore. Tears prickled at the corners of his eyes. Here they were, standing at the edge of possibility, and he realized how much he wanted to believe. To embrace that warmth that came with dreams unfolding. You're right. It is a symbol, a promise of what is to come. With newfound fire, they organized the tiny onesie in a special place. A corner in their shared lives that shouted they were ready. This was the first tangible representation of their dream, and it made his heart swell. That night, as they settled for sleep, Jack turned to Lisa, who already had a serene smile spread across her face. "What if we take this leap together?" he asked, sounding both excited and nervous. "Let us do it. We'll take it step by step. The treatment, the adoption, anything that comes our way. Together, we can face it," Lisa replied, conviction in her eyes. Morning light streamed through their window again, filling the room with warmth. Jack awoke with a vivid sense of clarity. This was their moment to seize, and he felt ready. Over the next weeks, they threw themselves into the process. They revisited the clinic full of determination. Each appointment deepened their commitment, marking the papers with decisive strokes that echoed their resolve. They held hands tighter, exchanged hopeful glances, and dreamt bigger. Adapting together, every small step illuminated a path forward. They signed up for support groups, finding camaraderie in shared struggles. Each meeting brought laughter mixed with tears, a reminder that they weren't alone. Jack's garage, once a sanctuary of surrender, transformed into a playful haven of hope. They painted walls together, crafting a nursery adorned with gentle murals of animals. He often found himself daydreaming of playdates, birthday parties, and bedtime stories, a world filled with joy. One crisp morning, as they prepared breakfast, Lisa received a call from the adoption agency. Jack felt the weight of anticipation, squeezing her hand tightly as she listened intently. Every second felt like an eternity. Then Lisa turned, her eyes wide, tears spilling over. "They have a match for us, Jack. A little boy. He is 3 and loves to play with trucks." His heart hammered loudly. A flood of emotions washed over him. They embraced tightly, joy erupting through them in waves. This was it. In that moment they realized the truth. Families were not just born. They were made through love, through struggle, through unwavering commitment. Jack could feel the chapter of their lives shifting. They were not defined by their struggles, but rather uplifted by them. Days later, they burst through the doors of the agency, nerves blending with excitement. They met him, a little boy with the brightest smile and curious eyes. As he rushed toward them, Jack felt tears hot against his cheeks. Each hug, every small laugh shared deepened Jack's resolve. He was not just becoming a father. He was stepping into a role forged through resilience and hope. As they drove home that day, the sun setting in the backdrop painted a perfect picture of their new beginning. They were a family, ready to embrace life with open hearts. Jack's voice broke the silence, filled with emotion. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" "Yes," Lisa whispered back, her eyes unwaveringly focused on him. "And we'll face every twist, every turn together." For Jack, the past melted away. The darkness that had once cast shadows over their dreams disappeared. Now stood the brightest future ahead, a marvel crafted from dreams, joy, and love. Live your truth, embrace the unknown, and never stop dreaming. If you felt moved by Jack and Lisa's story, you need to subscribe now to keep the magic coming. Don't let another moment go by. Leave a like now to fuel this journey and help the algorithm thrive. Comment your thoughts, your feelings. Let us know how this climax struck you. And share this incredible journey with at least 5 friends who need motivation to embrace their own transformations. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second.